Dropping out of college allowed a young man to mold himself into one of the greatest artists of his generation.
Sabin shares how his love of history inspired him to become a sculptor in tonight's modern master.
Art has the ability to transform and elevate your spirit, your insides, to see what can be. I'm Sabin Howard, and I'm a classical figurative sculptor. A figurative sculptor is one who makes sculpture that is based upon the human form. I grew up in New York in the 60s. I also grew up in Torino, northern Italy, which is a mecca of just visual beauty. I have memories of when I was 4 and 5. I would stand in a piazza under these beautiful balustrades with columns and just phenomenal looking architecture. It stayed in me and it resonated. I didn't get into art till I was 19. I came from a very intellectual family. Both my parents are PhDs. They expected me to go to, a place like Harvard, and that was not going to go down. So I ended up at University of Massachusetts in Amherst. And after, basically not showing up for class for a year, I dropped out, which horrified my parents. I went into this job on Monday, and by Thursday I was like, oh my God, what have I done? This is not for me. I called my dad. I said, I know what I want to do. I want to go to art school. And his response was, how long is that going to last? So this is like your rib cage. I'm returning to a different way of looking at art, which is more traditional. The figure is so important to us. And it's not just something that is in the art world, it's a figure that represents us. So what I'm doing right now is I'm subdividing the body into like cubes. I start with the clay. I start with a general framework. Once I finish the sculpture, my mold maker comes to the studio and we make a mold on the clay. And then I take that mold and we go to the foundry. Doing something in bronze is a way to give it a sense of weight and importance, because it does outlive the artist, but it shows his vision, and his vision will live on past him. I get this email from Joe Weichard. It says, I urge you to join my team and become a partner with me so that we can create this World War I memorial. And I'm like, wow, this is cool. I've never entered a competition in my life for sculpture, and we won unanimously 8-1. World War I, it's a war that needs to be remembered because it changed the course of history. I'm working on an 81-foot long wall, and it's 11 feet high, and I have to put up 30 figures. And you just imagine all the clay that has to go up, and how much designing and drawing, and how challenging that is, both on a physical and mental level. But I had to come up with a way of explaining war that is uplifting, and that's why I made figures that are relational. There's a sense of heroism in how they take care of each other. It's not the glorification of war, it's the glorification of the human spirit. In my mind, the artist's role is to do something that is spiritual, it's sacred. It's a way of showing others the direction that society can go in.